Okay, a wall is 56.5 feet long. The art club will paint different murals along the wall that are each 14.8 feet long. How many murals can go on the wall? So we're dividing to figure out how many murals can go on each space. The wall is a total of 56.5. Then we're going to divide by 14 and 1/2. 1/8, I'm sorry. We're going to multiply these together and add them because we're changing them. And when I do that, I get 113 over 2 times, then I'm changing this into 113 over 8. So I'm going to flip that. And at first you're going to be like, oh my gosh, those are big numbers. But guess what? Because these are diagonal from each other, we can cross cancel them to 1. 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 8 4 times. And after all those big numbers, you're getting an answer of 4. And that's it on that problem. Patty rides her bike 2 3/4 miles to school. She rides 3 5/6 miles to get back home because she needs to pick up her brother. How many miles does Patty ride? So I'm going to add those two together. I have 2 3/4 plus 3 5/6. I know I can change those both to 12. To make 6 into 12, I'm going to multiply by 2. So I'm going to do the same thing on the top. 5 times 2 is 10. To make 4 into 12, I'm going to multiply by 3 and do the same thing on the top. 3 times 3 is 9. My whole numbers are 2 plus 3, which is 5. My denominator is going to be 12. And 9 plus 10 is 19. This right here is an improper fraction. So I'm going to divide that and make it a mixed number. So I get 1 7/12. But then I have to add that 5 into that 1. So I get 6 7/12 as my answer. Make sure you're checking your work as you're doing this, because you should try it by yourself first. Okay. So explain how you know that your answer is reasonable. We have some hints here if you're having your troubles. So Patty almost rides 3 miles to school, because 2 3/4 is pretty close to 3, and almost 4 miles back. So she rides a little less than 7, because 3 plus 4 is 7. So her answer is reasonable because 6 7/12 is pretty close to 7. William runs 6 1/5 miles. One day he runs 2.5 times as far. How many miles does he run that day? He says times, so we are going to be multiplying. So 6 1/5. And that changes into what, 31 over 5 times 2 1/2. That changes to 5 over 2. Our 5's cancel out. So we get 31 over 2. If you can change this in your head, that is perfectly acceptable. If not, you're going to come and divide it. 2 times 15 is 30. So I get 15 1/2. Just like that. Next. A note represents the pitch and duration of a musical sound. In a 4/4 measure, a whole note is equal to 2 half notes. 4 quarter notes are 8 16th notes. In a given measure, a composer wants to divide a half note into 16th notes. So a half note would be represented as 1/2, and a 16th note would be represented by 1 over 16. So I have 1/2 divided by That is not the division sign, I'm sorry. Divided by 1 over 16 because they said the composer wants to divide a half note into 16th notes. So if we come over to the side and do that, we have 1/2 divided by 1/16. Our fraction goes down. Division changes to multiplication, we flip. I'm going to cross cancel because 2 goes into 2 one time and 2 goes into 16 8 times. So I get 8 as my answer. So 8/16 notes need to be used. And I know that one was pretty wordy and it's probably hard to follow along, but if you look at the hints, it can kind of help you out a little bit. Next up, Alex is setting up an inline skating course, 21 feet long, to practice weaving around cones. He wants a cone every 3.5 feet, but not at the start or the end of the course. So I'm going to take 21 and I'm going to divide it by 3.5. Remember, when I bring that 21 down, I'm going to put it over a 1. Division changes to multiplication, and before we can bring this mixed number down, we need to change it to 7 over 2. And then we're going to flip it to 2 over 7. When I do this, I can cross cancel because 7 goes into 7 once. 7 goes into 21 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. Now, before you put 6 down, if you read it up here, it says, how many cones will he need? And he doesn't want one at the start or the end. So we need to subtract 1 from that 6, and we get 5. So select all the statements that support your reasoning. I have to subtract 1 to get the number of cones. 6 is the number of 3.5 foot spaces separated by cones. Alex does not want a cone at the beginning of the end. And those are the ones you need to mark. Next. Okay, these ones are pretty straightforward right here. There's no word problems in them, just the numbers. Pretty straightforward. So I have 7.5 minus 3/4. That means I need to change this to have a 4 with it so I can actually do something. So I have 7 2/4 minus 3/4. And as I see, I can't do that, so I'm going to change this into an improper fraction. So 28, 29, 30. So I have 30 over 4 minus 3 over 4. That is 27 over 4. And then when I put that in there to a mixed number, 4 times 6 is 24. So I get 6 3/4 as my answer. Next, I have to find a common denominator again. I'm going to multiply this side by 8, this side by 5. So my whole number comes down. 2 times 8 is 16. 5 times 8 is 40. 1 times 5 is 5. And 8 times 5 is 40. So my whole numbers are 4. 16 plus 5 is 21 over 40. And make sure you remember your whole number there at the beginning. Next, we get 1/4 times 1 3/5. We need to change that into an improper fraction. So that changes into 8 over 5. 4 goes into 4 once. 4 goes into 8 twice. So my answer is going to be 2/5 on that one. Okay, then I get 4 1/3 divided by 1 2/3. 12, 13. So I have 13 over 3. Division changes to multiplication. 3, 4, 5. I'm going to write my improper fraction up there, and then I'm going to flip it. My 3's cancel out to 1s. So I end up with 13 over 5. Then I'm going to change that into a mixed number. 5 times 2 is 10. 13 minus 10 is 3, so I get 2 3/5.